In a world full of noise and chaos, learning how to stay calm is not a weakness, it's your greatest strength. In this video, you'll discover 11 timeless Stoic lessons that will help you remain centered, think clearly, and succeed under pressure. From controlling your thoughts to mastering your mornings, these powerful insights will guide you toward inner peace and resilience, no matter what life throws at you. Ready to take back control? Watch now and begin your Stoic transformation. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a new video on the Stoic wisdom. Calm is your greatest weapon. Have you ever asked yourself why life seems to spiral out of control the more you try to grasp it tightly? You push, plan, and force things to happen, yet everything still falls apart. But what if the true strength doesn't lie in controlling everything, but in staying calm? In this video, you're going to learn 11 powerful Stoic lessons that show you how to master calmness and turn it into your greatest advantage. This isn't abstract theory or motivational fluff. These are real, time-tested strategies passed down from Stoics for centuries, practical tools that can change how you think and act. So, are you ready to discover how staying calm can become your guide to success? Let's jump in. But before we do, let me share with you the story of James Stockdale, a man who endured one of the most brutal challenges life can offer, and who, through stoicism and calm, managed to persevere. James Stockdale was a pilot in the US Navy, trained to face any circumstance, a man used to having control over his missions, his aircraft, and his decisions. But one day during the Vietnam War, all of that changed in a matter of seconds. His plane was shot down. There was no time to process, only the crash, the fall, the panic. He ejected with his parachute, and before he even landed, he knew what was waiting. He wasn't falling into friendly territory. He was heading straight into enemy hands. He was captured, beaten, and dragged as if he were nothing but a broken object that fell from the sky. But his real challenge began when he reached the prisoner of war camp. They chained him, tortured him, and left him in complete isolation, no contact with anyone. Not for days or weeks, but for 7 years. Imagine that, not 7 days, not 7 months, 7 years, confined to a tiny cell, never knowing if he'd live to see another sunrise. Many in his place broke. They gave in, they lost their will, and let fear consume them. But not James. And it wasn't because he was physically stronger or more resilient. What set him apart was something deeper. He had full control of his mind. James wasn't only a soldier, he was a student of Stoic philosophy. And during those long, lonely years, he remembered the words of Epictetus: "It's not what happens to us that harms us, but our interpretation of it." He couldn't change the circumstances, but he could change the way he experienced them. They could beat him, but they couldn't defeat him. They could cage his body, but not his spirit. He clung tightly to the one thing no one could ever take away, his attitude. And with that, he made a decision to resist. He secretly led other prisoners, developing a covert communication system to keep them connected. He taught them how to resist mentally, to protect their minds from breaking under pressure. While his captors tried to destroy him, he repeated a simple truth to himself: "This does not define me. I am stronger than this." And he proved it. He survived. When he was finally released, someone asked him, "How did you survive?" His answer was clear: "I accepted the reality, but I never gave up faith in my ability to overcome it." Stockdale had discovered something that most people never realize. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond to it. And that was the secret to his survival. So now let me ask you, what's stealing your calm today? A stressful situation? A disagreement? A tough day? If James could find strength in one of the darkest chapters imaginable, so can you. No matter how chaotic life becomes, you always have control over your response. And that's what this video is about, learning how. Let's begin. Can you really control everything? Have you ever had one of those days where absolutely nothing goes according to plan? You wake up early thinking, today is the day. I've got it all under control. You've scheduled everything down to the last detail, finish that important project, hit the gym, cook a nice dinner. You're sure nothing will derail you. But then, things begin to unravel. Your boss throws a last-minute urgent task at you. A friend cancels dinner plans unexpectedly. You call someone hoping for support, and instead they hit you with a comment that totally ruins your mood. And now, frustration begins to creep in. Nothing is unfolding how you expected. And worse, you just can't stand it. But here's where the real problem lies. It's not that your day went off track. It's that we don't just want control over our own lives. We want to control everyone else's too. We want people to respond the way we imagine, for our plans to unfold exactly as we designed, for life to flow perfectly. So, let me ask you, how many times has this happened to you? How often have you tried to change someone, tried to get them to see things your way? Maybe you give advice to a friend who keeps repeating the same mistakes, or you try to help your partner understand your perspective. Or you wish your parents would stop worrying and just get your way of thinking. And when they don't, when they keep doing what they've always done, what happens? You get angry. You feel frustrated. You start believing everything is falling apart. But the problem isn't the situation. It's your attachment to the belief that you can control it. Naval Ravikant, investor and entrepreneur, once said something powerful. Suffering comes from the desire to control the uncontrollable. He was right. So many people spend their lives trying to bend reality, force outcomes, and change others, when real peace comes from focusing on what's within your power. And this isn't just a modern concept. Epictetus said the same thing over 2,000 years ago. Some things are up to us, and some are not. Only those who cling to what they can't control end up suffering. Science backs this up as well. A study conducted at Stanford University examined how uncertainty affects emotional well-being. They split participants into two groups. One group had complete control over their task and its outcome. The other group had tasks with unpredictable external outcomes beyond their control. What did they discover? The individuals who accepted uncertainty had lower anxiety, better emotional stability, and more flexibility. Meanwhile, the ones who desperately tried to control the outcome felt constantly frustrated, tense, and emotionally drained. Now ask yourself, which group would you rather be in? The people who let go of what they can't control and focus on what they can, or the ones who fight against the wind, hoping it'll blow their way? If you want to move through life without being knocked over by every obstacle, I've got two challenges for you. 1. The so what challenge. Next time something doesn't go your way, pause and ask, so what? Will this matter in 5 years? Because let's be honest, most of what stresses you out today, you won't even remember 6 months from now. 2. Controlled chaos challenge. This one might make you hesitate, but it could be life-changing. 1 day a week, stop planning everything. Let the day unfold without rigid expectations. Go with the flow. You'll be surprised at how adaptable your mind becomes. And here's the twist: when you let go of control, you often gain it. Because life isn't a straight highway where everything follows your plan. It's more like navigating open waters. You can't stop the waves, control the wind, or prevent every storm, but you can adjust your sails. Let go of what isn't yours to manage and focus on the one thing that always is: your attitude, your choices, and your response. Be grateful. Before you complain, think of your mind as a garden. What you plant there is exactly what will grow. If you feed it with stress, negativity, and constant complaints, don't be surprised when it turns into a dry, thorn-covered wasteland. And no, this isn't just a poetic metaphor. Scientists at the University of Berkeley decided to test this idea. They created an experiment with two groups of people, giving them a very simple task: The first group was asked to write down 3 things they were grateful for every night, no matter how small. The second group could write about anything they wanted, no guidelines at all. Weeks passed. Then came the results, and they were striking. The first group, the ones who practiced daily gratitude, showed increased activity in the prefrontal cortex, the area of the brain that controls calm thinking, decision-making, and emotional regulation. It was as if their brains had been trained to focus on the good and respond to stress more effectively. The second group, no significant changes. Their mental garden remained the same, dry and tangled. So now you see, gratitude isn't just a feel-good idea, it's a mental tool, and believe me, I didn't always think this way. For a long time, I thought gratitude was a pointless practice. But one day, I gave it a shot. I began writing down 3 things I was thankful for each morning. At first, it felt silly, like going through the motions, but slowly, something inside me began to shift. Over time, I understood what Seneca had realized centuries ago. It's not happiness that makes us grateful. It's gratitude that makes us happy. Picture this. It's Monday. You open your eyes and immediately think, I need a vacation. You drag yourself out of bed, your mind already whispering, if only I had a better job, a bigger house, a different life. You wash your face, but the same tune keeps playing. If I had more money, if I had more time, if life were easier, then I'd finally be happy. But let me ask you this, when has it ever been enough? Because no matter what you achieve, there's always something else to want. Another level, another desire. And while you're chasing what's next, you're losing the one thing that matters most, your peace of mind. So if one small habit like noticing the good in your life can literally rewire your brain to stay calm under pressure, why not do it? Let's start with 3 simple actions. 1. Say thank you out loud when you wake up, but don't just mumble it, say it with meaning. Imagine sitting up, stretching your arms, and saying clearly, thank you. It might feel awkward the first few times, but do it anyway. Because when your first words are gratitude, your brain starts the day looking at what's there, not what's missing. 2. Write down 3 good things every night, but don't be lazy, and repeat the same ones. Look for small moments, maybe a great cup of coffee, or a laugh you shared. If you don't train your mind to see the good, it'll default to spotting only the bad. 3. Focus on what you have, not what you lack. Life isn't about checking off an endless list of desires. If you can't appreciate what's in your hands today, you won't appreciate it even when you have twice as much. The clarity you seek, the calm you crave, the success you're chasing, they're not hiding in what you don't have. They're hidden in the way you see your life. So tattoo this truth into your thinking. Complaining changes nothing, but gratitude, it changes everything. Think well and attract the best. Let me share a story about a friend of mine. A few months ago, he got life-altering news, a serious health condition, the kind that flips your entire world upside down. Everything suddenly became uncertain. Hospital visits, medical tests, endless waiting, and worst of all, his own mind turning against him. Every morning, he'd wake up with the same heavy thoughts. What if this gets worse? What if I never recover? Why is this happening to me? And when you think like that, every day becomes a struggle. He felt stuck, trapped inside a tunnel with no way out, until one day, during one of those long hospital waits, he heard something that clicked. It was a talk by Tony Robbins, and the message was simple but powerful. The quality of your thoughts determines the quality of your life. That sentence kept echoing in his mind. He thought, where have I heard something like this before? He started digging and realized that nearly 2,000 years earlier, Marcus Aurelius had said something almost identical. The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. That's when it hit him. He couldn't control his illness, but he could control how he approached it. So he made a choice. Every morning before getting out of bed, he forced himself to focus on one positive thought, no matter how small. Today, I'll find something that makes me laugh. Today, I'll savor every moment with my family. Today, I'll be thankful for what I still have. Here's the fascinating part. Nothing about his condition changed, but how he responded to it. That changed everything. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful emperors in history, knew his greatest battle wasn't out there in the world. It was inside his own mind. He didn't waste time obsessing over problems. He trained himself to focus on solutions. He didn't live in fear of what might go wrong. He learned how to face whatever did. And that mindset, that was his strength in the midst of chaos. And it can be yours too. So, how are you using your mind? Are you programming it to attract what's good? Or are you feeding it with fear, doubt, and worst-case scenarios that only hold you back? Here are 3 mental habits you can start practicing right now. 1. Reframe your negative thoughts. Whenever you catch yourself thinking, "This is a disaster," or "I can't do this," pause, then shift it. Say instead, "This is tough, but I'll grow from it. This isn't easy, but I'll figure it out." It's not about lying to yourself. It's about training your brain to search for solutions instead of surrendering to fear. 2. Distance yourself from constant negativity. Negativity is contagious. If you're constantly surrounded by people who complain, criticize, and give up, you'll start thinking that way too. Choose better company. Find people who speak about possibilities, not limitations. People who lift you up, not pull you back. 3. Visualize positive outcomes. This isn't about daydreaming or false hope. It's about mentally rehearsing your success. Picture how you want to feel. Imagine yourself responding calmly to challenges. Visualize yourself getting through difficulties with clarity and composure, because once your mind has practiced success, it becomes easier to achieve it in real life. In the end, it all comes down to this. Your thoughts are the lens through which you experience the world. Train your mind to think clearly, and you'll begin to spot opportunities, make smarter decisions, and become the strongest version of yourself. So tell me, what do you want to attract into your life? Share it in the comments. Write it like you mean it, because every change begins with a single thought. Your attention defines your reality. Let me ask you something. When you walk down the street, what catches your eye? Do you notice the noise, the traffic, the rush of people? Or do you see the little things, the sunlight brushing against buildings, the trees swaying in the wind, a stranger's smile? Because here's a simple truth. Reality is the same for everyone, but what you experience depends entirely on what you focus on. It's like that viral meme of 2 people sitting on opposite sides of a bus. They're on the exact same ride, but one is staring miserably at a rock wall, while the other is smiling at the beautiful view. The road doesn't change, their focus does. Life works the same way. If all you do is fixate on what's broken, on what's missing, or what's going wrong, your world will always feel grey, heavy, and full of obstacles. But if you make the choice to look toward what's good, what's working, and what's possible, the landscape of your life completely transforms. Will Smith once said in an interview that if you want success, happiness, or to achieve anything meaningful, you need to master one skill: the ability to ignore distractions and direct your energy toward what matters. That's been the key to his success. Not luck, not shortcuts, just the discipline to manage focus, because your attention acts like a filter, like an Instagram preset. Depending on the filter you apply, the entire image changes. If your filter is built around fear, frustration, and complaint, then everything you see will feel negative. But if you switch that filter, if you choose to focus on what you can control, what empowers you, your entire reality will shift. Let's test this together. Think back to something that made you anxious or upset in the last few days. Maybe it was a comment someone made, a stressful task at work, something toxic you saw online. Now ask yourself, how did focusing on that make you feel? Now imagine if, instead, You had shifted your focus in that moment to something positive, maybe a small win you had that day, a calm moment, a good conversation. Do you think your emotional state would have been the same? Because here's the truth, what you focus on expands. So if you want to regain calm and bring your attention back to what really leads to growth and success, here are 3 powerful strategies. 1. Start a mental diet. Just like you watch what you eat, you should pay attention to what you feed your mind. Cut back on negative news. Unfollow toxic content. Ask yourself, is what I'm watching or reading adding value or draining my energy? Remember, your mind is a garden. What you water is what will grow. 2. Do an attention reset. When you find yourself spiraling into worry or frustration, interrupt the pattern. Go for a short walk. Take a few deep breaths. Look around and intentionally focus on something new. And instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Try asking, what can I learn from this? The question you ask will shape the answer you find. 3. Surround yourself with the right people. If you're constantly surrounded by those who complain, blame, or see problems in everything, that mindset will start to rub off on you. Find people who inspire you, who challenge you, who talk about solutions, not just problems. As Epictetus once said, where your attention goes, there is your soul. In the end, it's simple, you become what you focus on. So train your attention to lock onto what strengthens you. That's how you become resilient. That's how you make sharper decisions. And that's how you stay calm, no matter what life throws your way. If you don't rest, your mind shuts down. How many times have you forced yourself to keep going, even when you were completely drained? You're sitting at your desk, staring at the screen, trying to focus, but your brain feels like static. You reread the same sentence again and again, and it still doesn't make sense. So, you grab a coffee, maybe 2, but clarity doesn't come. And worst of all, instead of listening to the signals, you push harder. But ask yourself, does that ever actually help? Of course not. You just end up making more mistakes and feeling even more burned out. Here's the truth nobody tells you. Rest isn't a reward, it's a requirement. Think about your phone. What happens when you use it all day without recharging it? Exactly, it dies. And no matter how much you shake it, tap it, or yell work, it's not turning back on until it's been recharged. So why do we treat our minds like they're different? The Stoics knew this long ago. Seneca once said, even the sharpest sword needs rest to keep its edge. What good is the most powerful tool if it's too worn out to work? What's the use of a brilliant mind if it's too tired to think clearly? Seneca scheduled time for reflection, stillness, and mental recovery, not because he was lazy, but because he knew that calm made him stronger. And today, modern neuroscience proves it. Rest improves memory, learning, creativity, and self-control. So let's make this simple. Your brain is like a whiteboard. Every day, you write down ideas, tasks, decisions, emotions. But if you never stop to wipe it clean, the clutter builds. Everything gets messy. Space runs out. That's when overwhelm kicks in. But when you sleep, when you give yourself real rest, it's like wiping that board clean. Suddenly, you've got space again. Clarity returns. Focus sharpens. Now maybe you're thinking, that sounds great, but my life's too chaotic for deep rest. Don't worry. You don't need a silent cabin in the woods to recharge your brain. Start with these 3 small but powerful strategies. 1. Cut back on screen time before bed. Yes, you've heard it before, but there's a reason this tip keeps coming up. It works. The blue light from your phone tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. So when you lie in bed scrolling, don't expect your mind to power down. Instead, unplug at least 30 minutes before sleep. Protect your peace. 2. Create a simple nighttime routine. It doesn't need to be fancy. Read a few pages. Journal your thoughts. Sit in stillness for 5 minutes. What matters isn't what you do, it's the signal you send your brain. It's time to disconnect. 3. Listen to your body. If you feel like you're running on empty, pause. Rest isn't weakness, it's strategy. Athletes don't train non-stop. They rest, recover, and come back stronger. And you're the athlete of your own life. Don't let the world convince you that rest is a luxury. It's not time wasted, it's energy renewed. Because if you truly want to succeed, you don't need more hours of stressed out work. You need clarity, focus, and calm, and those come from rest. Your mornings shape your destiny. Imagine this. Marcus Aurelius and Seneca suddenly wake up in the 20th century. Marcus opens his eyes, and the first thing he does is reach for his phone. He checks notifications, emails from the Senate, a nasty tweet criticizing his latest decree, and breaking news about unrest at the empire's borders. He sighs, drags himself out of bed, and while pouring his coffee, his mind's already racing with stress. Seneca, meanwhile, rises slowly. Before even moving, he takes a breath and asks himself, "What kind of day do I want to have?" He stretches, drinks a glass of water, pulls out his journal, and begins to reflect. And without checking his phone, he steps outside for a calm walk, letting the cool morning air refresh his mind. Both are brilliant minds, but one starts the day at the mercy of chaos. The other begins with intention and control. So here's the question, who do you resemble more in the mornings? The truth is, many people start their days on autopilot. They wake up, grab their phones, and instantly flood their brains with messages, news, and worries before they've even gotten out of bed. No preparation, no direction, just a reactive plunge into the day's noise. But imagine this. What if instead of responding to the world the moment you wake up, you chose how your day would begin? Science now backs what the Stoics practiced thousands of years ago. Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, a health and wellness expert, has shown that a simple, intentional morning routine is one of the most powerful tools to reduce stress and stay grounded. His research found that when people start the day with clarity, whether that means reading, meditating, or simply avoiding distractions, their anxiety levels drop and their focus improves. So let's not just talk about it. Let's try something different. Imagine today is your turning point. Let me walk you through what a powerful morning can actually look like. 1. Don't touch your phone for the first 30 minutes. I get it. It sounds hard. But seriously, ask yourself, do you really need to flood your brain with information before you're even fully awake? Give your mind space to breathe before you bombard it with alerts and chaos. 2. Start with a small win. Do something, anything that makes you feel like you've started your day with purpose. It doesn't have to be big. Make your bed, stretch your body, drink your water slowly. Prepare your breakfast without rushing. Sit in silence for a minute. It's not the size of the action that matters, it's the intention behind it. 3. Visualize your ideal day. Take 60 seconds to ask yourself, how do I want to feel today? How do I want to respond to challenges? What would make today feel meaningful? Visualize it clearly. Set the tone, because if you don't decide how your day begins, the world will decide it for you. And if you're wondering how to train your mind to visualize with more focus and purpose, stick around, because in the next chapter, we'll explore exactly why this skill can change everything. But for now, tell me this. How are you going to start your mornings from now on? Drop it in the comments. Make it real. This community is here to support you on the path to mastery, one morning at a time. What you visualize, you build. Have you ever experienced this? You decide you want a specific car. You start imagining it, the color, the shape, how it feels when you're driving. Then, all of a sudden, you start seeing that car everywhere on the road, in parking lots, even in ads. It feels like the universe is sending you a sign, right? But it's not magic. It's your brain. When you concentrate your attention on something, your mind becomes trained to detect it more easily, not because it suddenly appears out of nowhere, but because you've activated a filter that sees what you've chosen to focus on. And this doesn't just apply to cars, it applies to everything in life. Epictetus summed it up in one short but powerful sentence: what you feed your mind becomes your reality. If you spend your days focusing on problems, scarcity, and fear, then that's what your world will look like. But if you begin to focus on progress, growth, and opportunity, your mind starts guiding you toward those things too. Here's the fascinating part. Your brain doesn't know the difference between something you vividly imagine and something you've actually experienced. Roxy Nafusi, a visualization expert, explains that imagining your life clearly isn't just daydreaming, it's a practical way to prepare your brain for success. Let's try it. Close your eyes and picture your ideal home. Don't just think about it, live it in your mind. What color are the walls? What's the view from the window? What does the air smell like? What music is playing in the background? How does the furniture feel under your fingertips? Now, visualize everything it would take to get there, not as a distant dream, but as a real, achievable journey. Imagine the actions, the discipline, the mindset. Picture the little wins and the daily progress that moves you forward. Does it feel more real now? Good, because the clearer the picture in your mind, the easier it becomes to find the path toward it. So, how can you use visualization to stay calm and move closer to success? 1. Create a mental script for your goals. Don't just say, I want success or I want confidence. That's too vague. Instead, picture specific moments where you embody that goal. If you want to be more confident, visualize yourself walking into a meeting, speaking clearly, standing tall. If you want a thriving business, imagine a day in that business from morning to night. Your workspace, your conversations, your decisions. The brain responds best to specificity. 2. Fill your environment with reminders. Have you ever noticed that athletes often decorate their rooms with motivational quotes and images of their heroes? That's no accident. Your surroundings shape your mindset, so use that to your advantage. Change your phone wallpaper to something that inspires you. Put a sticky note on your mirror with your intention. Keep a book or object nearby that reconnects you to your vision. The more your environment reflects your goals, the easier it is to stay aligned. Because here's the truth. Calm doesn't come from knowing exactly how everything will play out. It comes from knowing where you're headed, and from seeing it so clearly in your mind that uncertainty loses its power over you. Success isn't about luck. It's about seeing the path before anyone else believes it's there, and then walking it with intention every single day. Breathe and take back control. Picture this. The game is on. The tension around the poker table is thick. The players stare each other down, but the real pros, they're not looking at the cards, they're reading people. Because in poker, just like in life, the winner isn't always the one with the best hand. It's the one who knows how to stay cool under pressure. Beginners give themselves away with every nervous move. Their breathing speeds up, their hands twitch, sweat forms on their forehead. But the pros, they stay composed. No flinching, no overreacting, no emotion leaking out. They don't let the world see what's going on inside, because they understand one key truth. Whoever loses control loses the game. Now, take that scene and place it into real life. Forget poker chips. Think about an argument, a confrontation, a high-stress moment. Someone attacks you with words, pushes your buttons, tries to pull you into their storm of emotion. And in that instant, you have a choice. You can bite, explode, react impulsively, fire back without thinking. But if you do, you've already lost. Or you can pause, breathe, choose how to respond rather than hand your power over. That pause, that breath, is everything. Imagine this. You're in a heated argument. Your pulse is rising. Anger bubbles to the surface. You feel misunderstood, attacked. Your mind screams, say something, defend yourself. But this right here is the critical moment. You can let the storm sweep you away, or you can do what the Stoics practiced every day, stay calm. And no, it's not about being passive or silent. It's about choosing your reaction instead of being a prisoner to it. Marcus Aurelius ruled an empire, faced invasions, betrayals, chaos. Yet he wrote, calm yet determined, cheerful yet steady. That is the man who follows reason in all things. That's the goal, because your mind can be your strongest ally or your worst enemy. The question is, who's in control, you or your emotions? And when tension builds and stress hits hard, the first tool to regain control is simple but powerful: your breath. It may sound too easy to matter, but hear this. If you can't control your breath, you can't calm your mind. And if you can't calm your mind, you won't control your actions. And without that, success slips away. Here's how to take back control in moments of pressure. 1. Use the 4-7-8 breathing technique. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 7, exhale for 8. This calms your nervous system, slows your heart rate, and gives your mind space to choose rather than react. It's like pressing the reset button on your emotions. 2. Have compassion for others' outbursts. When someone lashes out at you, it's rarely about you. Their anger is often a reflection of something much deeper, something you can't see. Maybe they're carrying invisible pain. Maybe they've never been taught how to handle their own mind. And here's the gift: you don't have to absorb their chaos. You get to decide whether to step into their storm or stay rooted in your own peace. Because at the end of the day, the one who yells isn't the strongest. The one who stays calm wins. So remember, next time life pushes you, don't respond out of reflex. Breathe first, decide second. Because true power doesn't come from the loudest voice, but from the calmest mind. Seek silence, find answers. Think about your typical day. The moment you open your eyes, your phone is already in your hand. Notifications, emails, messages. You step outside, and it's traffic, honking, music, voices all around you. You come home, and the TV is on, your screen is glowing, social media buzzing. Every corner of your life is filled with noise, and what's worse, you've gotten used to it. Why? Because silence makes you uncomfortable. It unsettles you. It feels too empty, too slow, too exposed. So you fill every moment, every pause, with distraction. But here's the truth you may not want to face. Silence isn't the enemy, it's the doorway. A doorway into something you can't access through noise, clarity, insight, truth. If you never step through that doorway, you'll never hear the most important voice of all your own. Remember the movie Eat, Pray, Love? The main character, stuck in a life that no longer fits, doesn't find herself in a whirlwind of activity. She finds herself in stillness on a retreat in India, sitting with her own thoughts. At first, it's agony. Her mind screams, her anxiety spikes, but then something shifts. When the outside noise fades, she begins to finally hear what she truly needs. The Stoics knew this long ago. Seneca said, "We suffer more from the noise in our minds than from the noise around us." We dwell on what hasn't happened yet. We replay our mistakes. We fill our minds with chatter until we can't even think straight. But here's what science tells us today. A study from Duke University found that when we embrace silence, our brains don't shut down, they actually light up. In moments of quiet, your brain activates what's called the default mode network. It helps you make connections, solve problems, find patterns, and gain insight. It's like you've been searching for answers in a messy room, and silence is the moment you stop, breathe, and suddenly see the answer right in front of you. So what can you do when your mind feels like a storm and you can't find your way? Try these. 1. Disconnect for 30 minutes a day. No screens, no conversations, just silence. Whether it's early morning, before bed, or a midday pause, give yourself a window to just be, to take silent walks, no music, no podcasts, just the rhythm of your steps and your thoughts. At first, it may feel strange, but soon it becomes sacred, a space where clarity can finally rise. 3. Write down what comes up, keep a notebook nearby. Capture your thoughts, your questions, your realizations. When you put pen to paper, you begin to organize your mind, you begin to hear yourself again. Because here's the thing, if you can't sit with your own thoughts, why would anyone else want to? Silence isn't a void. It's a mirror, and in it, you'll see who you really are, what you really think, and what you truly need. So if you're searching for calm, for clarity, for direction, it may not be out there. It may be within you, waiting patiently in the quiet. Use your hands. Calm your mind. Let me tell you a story. There was once a man who couldn't sit still, not because he was impatient, but because his mind was overflowing with questions. It wasn't enough for him to observe the world. He had to touch it, explore it, take it apart, and rebuild it with his own hands. He sketched obsessively, designed machines no one had seen before, studied anatomy, wrote endlessly. But he didn't do all this just out of curiosity. He had discovered a secret. His mind worked best when his hands were busy. Whenever he felt stuck, he'd draw. When his thoughts became tangled, he'd sketch and organize them visually. When words failed, he let action speak for him. That man, Leonardo da Vinci, a genius, yes, but more importantly, a man who understood something most people overlook. When your mind is overwhelmed, the solution isn't always to think more. Sometimes it's to do. Now, think about you. What do you do when stress takes over? When your ideas become a blur? When anxiety clouds your judgment? Marcus Aurelius said it clearly. Well-directed action brings peace to the mind. Calm doesn't come from sitting still hoping for the storm to pass. It comes from moving through it with purpose. Picture this. You're at work. Everything's spinning out of control. Emails piling up. Phone ringing non-stop. People needing your attention. Your chest tightens. Your thoughts scatter. You feel like you're drowning in noise. All you want is to be the kind of person who remains composed, who leads with clarity, who doesn't break under pressure. So how do you become that person? You start by using your hands. And no, I'm not telling you to break out a sketch pad in the middle of a busy office. But here's what you can do. 1. Commit to 10 minutes a day of hands-on activity. Draw, write by hand, cook, fix something, garden, anything physical that engages your focus. Even just organizing a drawer can become a form of active meditation. 2. Remove distractions during that time. No multitasking, no background noise with lyrics, no notifications, just you, your hands, and one single task. Because when your mind focuses on one simple, tactile action, stress starts to fade without you even realizing it. 3. Observe how you feel afterward. You may not have solved all your problems, but I promise you'll feel lighter. Your thoughts will feel clearer. It's like the storm within has finally slowed, even just a little, because sometimes when words and thoughts fail, your hands know what to do. So let me ask you, what's the first thing you're going to do with your hands to calm your mind? Drop it in the comments. Be bold, because calm isn't just the absence of chaos. It's the anchor that keeps you steady, the clarity that guides better decisions, and the force that helps you move forward without letting stress take control. Every single day, you have a choice to train your mind, to choose your response, to become the kind of person who doesn't get swept away, but knows how to navigate the storm. If you've made it to the end, type in the comments, "I choose calm to guide my success." That's how I'll know you're one of the true Stoic warriors. And if this journey resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, hit the bell, and give this video a like so you don't miss what's coming next. You'll also see a playlist on screen packed with lessons, stories, and tools to help you walk the Stoic path with strength and wisdom. Click it, and let's keep growing forward together.